Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the Gadigal of the Eora Nation, the traditional custodians of this land, and pay my respects to their elders past and present. I'd like to thank the Academy for welcoming me into their fold. It's a great honour, obviously, to be made a fellow, and I'm very appreciative of the opportunity. From my earliest recollection, I've always wanted to be an engineer, and I'm very proud of both my engineering roots and to be part of the broader engineering community. My engineering story and my very broad interest in energy actually stems from my mother, a fellow engineer who I'm fortunate to be joined by today. Like my mother, I completed my undergraduate at the University of Sydney, where I studied aerospace engineering and science. And for those of you who know my passion around energy, you'll know that I'll be the happiest person alive when batteries have wings. I went on to do a PhD in control systems at the Australian National University, where I spent some time at the University of Melbourne and the University of Lund in Sweden. Since 2013, I've been the Chief Technology Officer and the co-founder of Reposit Power, developing hardware and software that allows the mass deployment, commissioning and operation of distributed energy generation and battery storage. Notably, the technology that we've developed allows distributed generation and storage to actively participate in electricity markets and to deliver energy and services to both transmission and to distribution networks. Along the way, we've solved some fascinating technical problems at the intersection of computation, communications and control, and particularly in the way that they interrelate to the operation of our electricity system. Against the backdrop of alarming changes to our environment caused by climate change, we're currently in Australia navigating the very early stages of a significant global energy transition that's going to see us move from large centralised fossil fuel-fired generation to an increasingly diverse, decentralised and distributed energy generation mix. And as part of this transition, we've already seen the largest per capita deployment of solar PV anywhere in the world. So this adoption is being driven by the fact that we have some of the highest retail energy prices globally, and that consumers are increasingly interested in getting control back over the cost, the environmental impact, and the reliability. Do I have paper backup? And the reliability of their energy consumption. Over the next decade, and continuing this trend of consumer adoption of solar photovoltaics, Australian households are predicted to acquire increasing amounts of energy storage, electric vehicles, smart appliances and in-home energy management systems. Indeed, by 2020 alone, there are predictions that there's going to be over 1 million residential batteries installed in Australia, along with a doubling of residential solar PV to between 3 to 4 million systems. Imagine if all of this solar generation and battery storage that's being installed in people's homes could be aggregated together and used to build and operate a virtual power station. Over the next decade, it would then be possible for us to build a consumer-powered power station incrementally in exactly the locations that we need it, while providing the energy and services that we need to underpin an electricity system that's cost-effective, stable and reliable. To give a simple analogy, I liken the electricity grid of the past to a jumbo jet. It's big, it's stable, and for the most part it's operated really well for the last 60 years. The move to a distributed grid is a bit like the advent of a swarm of modern unmanned aerial vehicles. It's going to require a lot more control to be actively stable, but it's going to allow us to achieve much higher performance and adaptability whilst addressing the fundamental challenges of the energy transition that we're going through. In simple terms, our challenge over the coming decades is to ensure that we can develop the technologies, the policies, and importantly, the social mandate to ensure that we successfully navigate this energy transition while addressing and overcoming the energy trilemma that's much talked about today. So given the significant uptake of residential energy generation and storage, One of the major challenges that we have to overcome during this transition is going to be the development of capabilities to ensure that consumers are actually empowered to be first-class participants in the grid. As the technology to do this proliferates and it's going to become deeply entwined into people's lives. And this is going to bring with it an obligation to ensure it's actually improving people's lives. Ultimately, if our goal is to improve the experience that people have, then we're going to have to deliver these benefits at a time when automation and autonomy are playing an increasingly central role in the technologies we build. In designing, building, and deploying increasingly intelligent systems, we have a crucial role to play in ensuring that this technology works for and on behalf of people in their communities, improving their lives and not exposing them to any risks. ATSE has a vital role to play in addressing this and other challenges that we're going to face in the coming decades, and I'm obviously delighted to be in a position to contribute to this broader mission. As engineers and technologists, we need to accept that we're often the architects of pervasive and ubiquitous technologies, but we cannot or should not be the arbiters of how people use and incorporate these technologies into their lives. We need to build technologies that empower individuals and communities. We need to embrace the notion that consumers are able to own and operate the technology for their benefit. Remembering that people are at the heart of everything we do, I think, is really vital. As a learned academy, I believe we have the obligation to demonstrate the leadership and advocacy to support these ideals. To ensure we're building technology that improves people's lives, we also have to have an increasing appreciation for the diversity of people who use our technology. And this means an increasing need to ensure we have an engineering and technical community who represent the extraordinary gender and cultural diversity of our broader societal communities. I know that as a community we acknowledge this, but I strongly advocate for us to do everything we possibly can to close the gap in gender diversity as soon as possible. The benefit for our community and for the world will be truly extraordinary. ATSE already has a number of initiatives in this area, and I think that they are really going to underpin the vision to make inclusivity a reality. I'm fortunate to have already engaged broadly with the energy and education committees within ATSE, and I look forward to deepening that engagement and broadening my contribution. As individuals and as a society, we're faced with addressing the great challenges of our age, and I'm proud to be joining the ranks of fellows who share the desire to leave the world a better place for our contributions. Thank you very much.